Hello everyone and welcome to Wisdom and Wealth. Have you ever watched those daring individuals walking on slacklines or tightropes? They perform these incredible feats of balance, making it look deceptively simple. But don't be fooled. Maintaining equilibrium on that thin cable is an incredibly challenging task. One wrong move, and you risk tumbling to either side. In many ways, life is like that tightrope walk. And if you are over 40, you have had time to learn a thing or two about balance. If you appreciate content that blends wisdom with financial insights, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel. Maintaining a sense of balance, striving to harmonize our inner selves with the demands of the external world, is one of life's greatest challenges. In this video, we'll delve into a crucial area where finding that equilibrium is essential: helping others. Recently, I came across a quote that resonated deeply with me, prompting me to share these thoughts with you. The quote cautions us against losing ourselves in the pursuit of helping others. It's a powerful reminder that resonates particularly strongly as we navigate the complexities of midlife and beyond. Balancing self-care with acts of kindness is a skill honed over time, and I'm excited to explore this topic with you today. Please let me know your experience in the comments. Imagine an empty jar or vessel. Could you use that empty jar to fill the cups of others? Of course not. In order to share your abundance with others, you must first fill your own jar. Similarly, the Buddha taught that we must prioritize our own well-being. We must take care of ourselves and cultivate our own growth before we can effectively help those around us. However, it's easy to fall into extremes. It's tempting to pour all our energy into the happiness and betterment of others, especially if you are a parent, a partner in a committed relationship, or deeply invested in any kind of relationship. But remember, it is important to take care of yourself. This devotion to others can become an extreme, leading to a loss of self, a sacrifice of your own identity in the name of assisting someone else. While the recipient may benefit from this selfless dedication, neglecting your own needs can have detrimental consequences. The more you give without investing in your own growth, the more you diminish the quality of your offerings. Eventually, your resources deplete, and you may find yourself unable to provide the same level of support. The person you're assisting may express dissatisfaction, questioning your commitment, unaware that your selflessness has come at the expense of your own well-being. Please like or subscribe. That's why the Buddha emphasized the importance of balance when it comes to helping others. He offered a beautiful metaphor to illustrate this point: the example of a mother cow and her calf. A mother cow has two essential tasks: to graze and nourish herself, and to care for her baby calf by providing milk. What happens if the mother cow neglects one of these responsibilities? If she focuses solely on grazing, neglecting her calf, the baby will eventually perish. Conversely, if she dedicates all her energy to providing milk, neglecting her own nourishment, the calf may survive, but the mother will ultimately suffer and die. Similarly, the Buddha explained that monks, committed to a spiritual life, have a duty to maintain balance. While their primary focus is on spiritual growth, this doesn't mean neglecting the well-being of others. A monk's path includes sharing Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, engaging in charitable acts, and offering emotional support. However, it's easy to become so engrossed in these external activities that we lose sight of our core purpose, our own spiritual development. Remember this as you navigate your own life path. It is important to invest in your own well-being. We might become consumed by charitable work, constantly helping others and being there in times of need, yet neglecting our own self-improvement. The Buddha emphasized that monks must maintain equilibrium in their spiritual lives, balancing their duties in the monastery with their own spiritual practice. Just like a mother cow who nurses her calf while also feeding herself, we must find that harmony. Remember, it's good to help others and to give your all to make them happy, but prioritize your own self-improvement first. If you like this content, please be sure to subscribe. That's why it's essential to carve out time for yourself each day. I like to call it me time. No matter how demanding my schedule, I always dedicate time to personal growth, whether it's learning something new or engaging in practices that benefit my well-being. This allows me to assist others in a more effective and meaningful way. Balancing helping others with helping yourself is crucial. I hope this video has provided you with some valuable insights into achieving this balance. May you all be healthy, happy, and free from suffering. Namaste. Now I am going to share more of the Buddhist teaching with you. The Buddha once said, "He who sits alone, lies down alone, walks alone in diligent practice and alone tames himself should find delight in living in the forest." The idea of living alone can be daunting for many in today's society. We are taught that a successful, happy life is one surrounded by people and possessions. Yet, nearly all spiritual practices praise and encourage solitude as a path to inner peace. Religious leaders often sought solace away from the hustle and bustle of society to find liberation and enlightenment. Even the Buddha, once a prince immersed in sensual pleasures, recognized that true fulfillment lay not in indulgence but in solitude and meditation. Living alone can be a profound blessing when embraced and utilized effectively. However, for many, it becomes a curse, fostering loneliness and fear. People often confess to feeling isolated and overwhelmed by negative thoughts when left to their own devices. This transformation of solitude into a curse hinges on our mindset and how we choose to spend our time. I'll share a story to illustrate this. After leaving his palace, Prince Siddhartha sought enlightenment in the forest. There, 5 monks awaited him, ready to assist in his quest. These monks believed that liberation could only be achieved through rigorous self-mortification. This pursuit of self-mortification represented one extreme, while Siddhartha's previous life of sensual pleasure represented another. For 6 years, Siddhartha practiced these extreme meditations, ultimately realizing that this path, too, led to no true enlightenment. He then discovered the middle way, a balanced spiritual life that integrates both material and spiritual aspects. Following this revelation, he decided to nourish his body and accepted food offered as alms. The 5 monks, who had placed great hopes on Siddhartha, became disillusioned by his actions, believing he would revert to his former life. Disappointed, they abandoned Siddhartha, leaving him alone in the forest. This solitude proved to be the perfect environment for him to focus entirely on his inner self. By embracing the opportunity for introspection, Siddhartha achieved enlightenment while sitting under the Bodhi tree. Therefore, solitude, when used wisely, can be a blessing, while it can easily devolve into a curse. When people complain of loneliness, I remind them that their thoughts generate energy, which can be either positive or negative. If this is resonating with you, please like or subscribe. Science teaches us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. We all possess energy, but it may be negative. Our lifelong quest is to convert this negative energy into something positive. How can we channel the energy of loneliness into something productive? A major cause of loneliness is the lack of purpose or goals. Having a clear aim provides a focus, reducing feelings of isolation. These goals can be either material or spiritual, but it is essential to cultivate spiritual goals regardless of one's background. There will inevitably be times in our lives when we face loneliness and isolation. Without cultivating inner qualities and spiritual practices, we risk succumbing to negative energy. Sometimes, it may be too late to rectify this. The key is to learn how to convert negative energy into something positive. This requires identifying and pursuing personal goals. Ask yourself what you wish to accomplish, who you want to become, and what qualities you want to develop. We all have weaknesses that we can address. By working on these weaknesses, we can become more successful, productive, peaceful, and content. This requires time and focus. The time you spend alone offers the perfect opportunity for introspection and self-improvement. That's why I advocate for setting aside a dedicated time each day just for yourself. This me time is crucial. Make it a point to spend at least 15 minutes in solitude, away from distractions like phones, television, and movies. Simply be with your own thoughts and learn to understand them. Doing so fosters a deeper connection to yourself. Please leave your experiences in the comments below. I hope you've gained some insight into transforming loneliness into solitude. Incorporate this practice into your life and embrace the power of being alone. Buddhism is often associated with meditation. Yet, if you ask a Buddhist friend whether they meditate, they might respond, "Not really, not that much." This raises the question, do all Buddhists meditate, and is meditation a prerequisite for becoming a Buddhist? To understand this, we first need to define what it means to be a Buddhist. A Buddhist is someone who follows the path and teachings of the Buddha. While being born into a Buddhist family is not sufficient, one must strive to follow the Buddhist path. However, the answer to, should you meditate to become a Buddhist, depends on your definition of meditation. If you view meditation solely as sitting cross-legged in a quiet place, closing your eyes, and concentrating, then it's not the only form. Meditation can be practiced in various postures, whether sitting, lying down, walking, or standing. Closing your eyes is not always necessary. Becoming a Buddhist involves more than just meditation, it requires incorporating various practices into your life. According to Buddhist teachings, there are three main practices that define a Buddhist. Anyone who engages in these practices can be considered a Buddhist. Remember to like or subscribe. What are these three practices? The first is sila, which translates to virtues. Buddhists adhere to 5 virtues: abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants. These virtues serve as the foundation and the first step on the Buddhist path. Before even meditating, one must strive to live a virtuous life. But why is it necessary to practice these virtues? A monk once asked the Buddha about the purpose of practicing virtues. The Buddha replied that practicing virtues helps one avoid regret in life. If you examine the 5 virtues closely, engaging in their opposites, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants, can lead to significant regret. The Buddha identified regret as a major obstacle to inner peace. A heart plagued by regret and complaint over past actions hinders the ability to find peace. Therefore, the Buddha urged people to be virtuous, to live in a way that avoids actions that will later cause regret. Practicing virtue essentially means practicing self-discipline, which is essential to avoid the pitfalls of regret. The second practice is samadhi, which translates to tranquility. This practice encompasses meditation but extends beyond it. It involves various methods for calming the mind. Meditation, involving quiet reflection and focused concentration, is one aspect of achieving tranquility. Practicing mindfulness and engaging in good karma, such as helping others, can contribute to mental tranquility. The sila, or virtues, mentioned earlier also aid in achieving a tranquil mind. The Buddha emphasized that practicing virtues should support mental tranquility, as that is the purpose of practicing sila. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Finally, there's the third practice, prajna, which translates to wisdom. The Buddha taught how to cultivate wisdom, which he defined as the ability to understand the true, impermanent nature of life. Cultivating wisdom involves meditation and wise reflection. The Buddha instructed that one must first listen to the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, and then reflect wisely upon them. Achieved through thoughtful consideration and reasoning, this wisdom is essential to understand the nature of the world. The 3 practices that make someone a Buddhist. Therefore, you must cultivate virtue, practice meditation, and develop wisdom. The sole purpose of virtue and samadhi is to facilitate the development of wisdom. These practices define a Buddhist, regardless of whether they identify themselves as such. Such people are the followers of the Buddha. If you appreciate this content, please like or subscribe. Why do bad things happen to good people? Perhaps you've asked yourself this question before. I consider myself a good person. I help everyone and try not to hurt anyone. Yet, I still face bad things, painful experiences, and suffering. Why does life keep testing me? These questions are common. Do you know how the Buddha viewed this during the night of his enlightenment? The first thing he realized was that life inherently involves suffering. Suffering is a part of everyone's experience. The Buddha did not associate suffering with being good or bad, he recognized suffering as a universal reality. When faced with adversity, we often believe we're the only ones enduring such pain. Sometimes, I feel that way myself. However, the Buddha taught us to view suffering as a shared experience. Let me illustrate this with a story. A young mother refused to accept her baby's death. She loved her child so much that she wandered from village to village, city to city, seeking a doctor who could revive her baby. But no one could bring a dead child back to life. Finally, she encountered the Buddha, who said, "I can cure your baby, but I need a specific medicine. Bring me a handful of mustard seeds from a family that has never experienced death." If this is resonating with you, please remember to like or subscribe. The mother was overjoyed, believing she could easily find this medicine. She rushed to the nearest village and went to the first house, asking, "Can you give me a handful of mustard seeds?" As the householder prepared to comply, she asked, "Has anyone in your family ever died?" They replied, "My uncle died last year." She refused the mustard seeds and went to the next house, only to receive the same answer: someone had died. She continued this search throughout the village, hearing only tales of death. Then she realized that death was not her own sorrow and suffering. She began to accept the death of her child. Death touched everyone. After returning to the monastery, the mother thanked the Buddha, not for curing her baby, but for healing her heart. The Buddha taught us to see suffering as universal. Next time you face a difficult situation or painful experience, remember that you are not alone. Many others are going through similar struggles. We are not alone, and that can bring a measure of comfort. Most of the time, we try to avoid or eliminate suffering from our lives. We wish that it didn't exist. We fall asleep hoping that the next morning, it will disappear like a bad dream. However, when suffering is present, it's important to accept that it exists. The initial step in understanding the first noble truth in Buddhism is accepting suffering as it is, seeing it for what it is. Only when we acknowledge suffering can we find a remedy for it. First, accept that pain and suffering are parts of life, and then choose how to respond. We spend much of our time worrying about things we cannot change, and this adds to the pain. It depends on how we react to those experiences. These experiences can be a blessing in disguise. Without difficulty, we will be unable to develop a strong mindset. A saying holds that you must jump into the pool to learn how to swim, experiencing the feeling of drowning to understand what it takes to stay afloat. Wishing or praying that suffering wasn't a part of our lives is fruitless. Instead, pray for a mindset that empowers you to face suffering and painful situations. If you want to improve, try meditating or even praying. Please leave a message in the comments to let me know how this video impacted you. A strong mind can deal with any challenge. Wishing for a strong mindset allows you to face any challenge, leading to a peace and happiness because you are always prepared. Remember that bad things can happen to good people. Good things can happen to good people. Good things can happen to bad people. Bad things can happen to good people. These are the laws of the universe. We all need to develop a mindset that allows us to view suffering as a universal truth, not a personal one. May you be able to develop a strong mindset to face challenges in life. We all know that letting go of anger and resentment is easier said than done. People might say, "Let it go, forget about it, move on." But someone dealing with the situation truly understands the difficulty and pain of that situation. But here's the thing, if we need to be at peace, we must make peace with ourselves. We need to learn a way of thinking and dealing with these situations. That is why I will share a teaching from the Buddha. The Buddha says one may apply to that person the fact of ownership of karma. Let's name this the ownership of karma thinking. The Buddha says this worthy person is the owner of their actions. The heir to the actions. These actions are the womb from which they sprung and their relation and protection. Whatever they do, good or bad, he will be heir to that. The Buddha advises us to look at their karma to remove the resentment about that person. Now, what is karma? Karma is action. It is the intentional actions we do with our body, speech, and mind. With these actions, we create consequences. The other part of karma is called consequences, which we call in Pali, vika. With karma, there is consequences. Buddha says whatever karma you do with intentions generates consequences. If you are dealing with someone who is intentionally hurting you, think of that intention as not pure, because the intention is impure, the karma is impure, and the consequences will be suffering for that person. You can think that a person is creating unwholesome action and will go through the consequences of that action. How you react to that situation is your karma. Should you intervene and get hurt by the other person's unwholesome actions? Tell yourself that you care and love yourself too much to do that. Whenever you come across a difficult or rude customer, think that whatever karma they are going to collect is their own karma, and your response to that situation is your karma. Respond to the situation with kindness, compassion, patience, and maturity. Maturity is important. Please take a second to like or subscribe. I always say that when someone is angry with you, be the bigger person. Be someone who has bigger patience than that person. When you deal with those situations with patience and maturity, you can deal with such people correctly, and you can let go of that anger with time. I know that you won't be able to do this quickly. Though you may need to let go of the anger quickly, it may not happen. But it's okay. Take a good time to let go of the anger by thinking like this. Let's say that you are going through a difficult situation, and you are angry with the other person. You hold on to that grudge and resentment. Then, who is going to get hurt? You are the person who is going to get hurt. If you are angry with someone, it is like holding a hot coal in your hand and trying to throw it at another person to hurt them. If you take that coal to throw at a person, who will get hurt first? You will. If you hold on to anger, you hurt yourself. The first person who is going to get hurt is you. Understand self-care, self-love, and self-compassion is important to heal, then you can let go of that anger. This is the way to think from the perspective of karma. They made their karma, and you are making yours by responding to the situation with patience and maturity. I hope that this idea helps you deal with people in a correct way, and I wish you all may you be healthy and happy. Namaste, welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, we are going to answer one of the most frequently asked questions in Buddhism. Can we change our karma or can we change our past karma? Can we do anything about it? Now to understand about this, first we need to understand what karma is. Now in almost all the Indian religions, there are a lot of teachings about karma. If this is helping you so far, please remember to like or subscribe. Karma is a bigger teaching in almost all the Indian religions. In Hinduism, in Jainism, in Buddhism, there are a lot of teachings about karma. But the Buddhist approach of karma or the Buddhist way of definition of karma is slightly different than the other Indian religions. So this is how Buddha defined the karma. The Buddha says monks I say intention is the karma. So when it comes to this statements from the Buddha means what Buddha means is that karma the action is more of a mind-related thing. That is why the Buddha says intention is karma. So intentions are generated in our mind. So what Buddha saw is that it is not just the action, it is the intention behind the action what defines the karma. So this is the Buddhist definition of karma. Now we'll come to the question. What is it? Can we change the karma? Now first of all we need to correct the question and then answer it. Why? Because karma, what people mean by asking can we change karma is that can I change what I have done in the past and can I change the consequences of those karma? So first we need to understand that karma or this intention is generated right now, right here, right. The karma is not something that is past, karma is something that you do right now, this present moment, right? So this present moment the karma can be changed. Why? Because it is always your choice. The choice is a karma, so it is your choice is totally under your control. Some people think that okay, our choices and our experiences are not totally under our control. The choices that we make are predetermined or due to the past karma. We make choices right now. But Buddha did not agree to this idea. What Buddha says is yes, your life is affected by the past karma, but it is not the only thing that your life is affected, but you can change your karma by making good choices, by taking the right action. That is why Buddha praised a lot about the taking right action. So understand that karma happens right now, and that means the karma is totally under your control. But what people ask is that, can I change the karma? No. First you need to correct the question. Can we change the consequences of our karma? Which means we parker. Now with the package of karma there comes another word which is not much famous, and that is weak. We parker means the consequences of karma. So basically what karma is, the cause and effect phenomena. That means we make causes for something and there will be an effect because of that cause. We do some actions and then we get consequences of those actions. So this is the basic understanding of karma. So can we change Parker? It is not totally under our control. We don't know what we have done in the past. So the only thing that we can do is just to go through those experiences. Now it is also important to remember that our life is not totally depend on karma. Karma is only one thing that our life is affected. Okay. So let's say you're going through a consequence of your past karma. So can you do anything about that? You can't do it, because only thing that you can do is you have to face that experience. But you can change how you react to that experience. Whether it is good or bad, you can take right action, right choice right now, right here to face that in a good way. So if we take the right action and right choice right here, then we can stop the karma repeating again and again, right? Let's say you're going through a bad experience due to a past karma, and if you react the same way, right, if you fall down, if you become angry, if you spread hate because of that pain and suffering, then you create some more suffering karma to go through some bad experiences in the future. But if you take right action, please remember to leave a comment to share your thoughts. And if you become wise and patient and mindful, then you can stop the karma from repeating. So in that way you take control of your choices. So understand, basically there is very few space for us to take control of what we have done in the past and the consequences of them. But we totally have the control that we make the choice right now, right here. So keep this beautiful advice from the Buddha in your heart and be happy. One day a wild bull was walking down a street and he saw this beautiful paddy field, and the bull was thinking, wow, what a beautiful paddy field. I need to eat some paddy. So what he did was he jumped to the paddy field and started eating paddy. But there was this farmer who was so mindful watching the paddy field, and he saw the bull was eating paddy. So what the farmer did, he ran across the paddy field and grabbed the bull from its horns and wrapped the muzzle around the horns and gave a huge blow to the bull. What happened to the bull? The bull was confused. So the bull ran away. But the nature of the bull is that he forgets everything very quickly. And the next day what happened? The bull was walking down the same street and saw the paddy field, jumped to the paddy field and started eating paddy again. But there was this mindful farmer who was watching the paddy field. If you like this content, please remember to subscribe. He gave a sound beating on that day as well. So this happened for a little while. But there came one day that the bull was thinking, okay, today I don't want to jump into the paddy field. Why? Because I always get beaten up by this guy. So on that day the bull didn't jump to the paddy field. On that day the bull was very disciplined. When he was near the paddy field, he went and he passed the paddy field without jumping towards it. So the Buddha used this wonderful story and metaphor to give us a beautiful message. The Buddha says this is the nature of our mind. It's like a wild bull forgets everything, runs towards these evil thoughts, and it has no discipline. So the Buddha says how we should discipline like that mindful farmer. We have to be mindful and watch our thoughts and take control over it. How to take control over our thoughts? So Buddha gave us a beautiful way to do that. The Buddha says whenever your mind runs towards these evil thoughts, what you have to think the downside of all these evil thoughts. For an example, if you have hatred in your mind, you have to think this is not good for myself. This is not good for my physical health. This is not good for my mental health, and this is not good for me as well as others. My hate is not good for me and as well as others. In that way, by considering the downside and the danger of your thoughts, you can stay away from evil thoughts, and also you can discipline your thoughts. But to do every kind of these things, any of these things, we have to have one beautiful quality, and that is the mindfulness. So the Buddha says, watch your mind like a farmer who's watching the paddy field. Right? So without mindfulness we cannot do any kind of these things. We cannot discipline our mind. We cannot take our mind from unwholesomeness to wholesomeness. So we need to have this beautiful quality of mindfulness. And also we need to consider the danger of our thoughts, because one thought can create a beautiful world and just one thought can destroy this whole world. That is the power of our mind. If you like this content, please remember to share this with a friend. So understand that the nature of all of our minds are like a wild bough. So many people complain when they start meditating. They say, oh, my mind is not disciplined. It's always busy. It's running here and there. I'm very scattered brain. Well, at the beginning, we all are like that. When we start meditation, our minds start to run here and there. Only when we start meditating, we realize that how busy our minds are, how scattered our minds are. So what we have to do whenever our mind get distracted or disturbed or running into these kind of evil thoughts, we have to kindly bring it back to the wholesomeness. You may have to do this again and again. You may have to do it for years, but there will be a day, definitely there will be a day that your mind becomes disciplined, but only if you keep doing this right. It's all about the little steps that you take to discipline your mind every single day, and every practice adds up to your life. That is the wonder of this beautiful Buddhist path. Every practice that Buddha teaches us adds up. Please leave your insights in the comments. And it always helps to us. So I know, and we all know, that it is not easy to discipline our mind. But even though it is difficult, it is not easy, it is painful, we have to do it again and again, keep doing it until that beautiful day comes that we gain a beautiful disciplined mind. So keep practicing disciplining our mind and be happy. One of the questions that people ask from me is that they ask, is it easy being a monk? Well, I give them the answer. No, it's not easy, right? So many people think that after becoming a monk, all the problems will disappear like you're floating on a peaceful cloud, you know? Trust me, it doesn't happen, right? Monk's life is difficult as same as any other life, right? It is not easy, because if you look at our life, right, where no matter what the life is, right, no matter what level of life. If you are finding these teachings helpful, please like or subscribe. There will always be difficulties, problems, challenges. That is the nature of life. That is what the Buddha said to us. The Buddha said that is the first noble truth. What is it? Dukkha. Where there is birth, there is dukkha. There is this unsatisfied nature. There is this suffering. There is this nature of unsatisfaction, dissatisfaction. So you may think, if you're thinking that after becoming a monk all the problems will disappear, it's not, it doesn't happen, right? But here's the thing, yes. There is some part of the problems that you face as a householder after becoming a monk, they will disappear, right? That is made from this lifestyle itself, right? For an example, as a householder, you have to maintain a family life, right? A family. So that part is not there in the monk's life. And as a householder, you have to have these relationships. You have to have your husband or wife, children. As a monk, you don't have them, right? And also then as a householder, you will get invited to a lot of occasions, no parties, weddings and all the stuff. As monks we don't go to the weddings and parties, right? So we live in the monastery, so those kind of problems, those kind of things, they will be removed by the lifestyle itself. But that doesn't mean the lifestyle becomes this monk's life is easier, yeah. Because we also have some other duties to do, right? We have. If you are finding these videos beneficial, please remember to share this video. Also other responsibilities to do. After doing all of those things, there are the things that are easier to do. Actually, at the end of the day, after becoming a monk, what you're really focusing on is your spirituality, your mind. A monk is someone who is totally dedicated to the spiritual practice, his own spiritual practice, and also the spirituality and the spiritual development of the people around him. So when you work on that right, you will face a lot of difficulties, lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenges that we face as monks is to discipline our mind right. As soon as you becoming a monk, your mind is not ready to become a monk. Okay, I always say this for people that it takes very few minutes to make a monk physically, like become a monk physically, but it takes a lifelong practice to become a monk within from the mind. Okay. So we are on the path of making our mind a monk. Okay. So understand that becoming a monk is not easy. Okay. As same as any other life. They will have problems. They will have difficulties. Right? And also I would like to say, yes, monk's life is difficult, but monk's life is beautiful. Why do I say difficult? Because there are some difficulties, challenges that you face as any other life. That is one part. Okay. And why would I say that monk's life is beautiful is that the lifestyle is made your life to be so much simple. For an example, we don't have much clothes, right? We only have 3 robes to wear, and also we don't have many things that as materials. For an example, we have only 3 robes and we have only 1 alms bowl and also a couple of books that we are using, and all the other utensils that we use in the monastery are like they are for the monastery. What has your experience been? Please leave a comment. Right? When we leave the monastery, we have to leave them behind and you have to go. The only thing that remains with you that you consider as yours, your materials, is your 3 robes and some couple of books and also some your alms both. That is the only thing that is remain. So the lifestyle is made to make your life so much simpler. Okay. And the practices that we do, the monastic practices that we do, is made to make your life so much simpler and easier. And the precepts that we follow that was given by the Buddha, the codes that we follow, is made to make the monk's life so much simpler, hassle-free, and more focused into the spirituality. So yes, that is one part of the beautiful part of the monk's life. Okay, that is beautiful. And the other part that I love to enjoy in monk's life is that being a monk, you get the opportunity to meet so many people, right? Being a preaching monk, I get this opportunity. I'm very lucky to have this in my life. I get to meet a lot of people. I get to meet a lot of people, and I get to talk with them, right? I can listen to their ideas. I can listen to their problems. I can share the Buddha's teachings with them and help them. And when I share the Buddha's teachings with them and when they get the help, it gives me a great happiness. Please remember to like and subscribe. Right? So that part 1 I love to enjoy. Okay? And also another beautiful thing that you find in monk's life is that every single morning when you wake up, you have something wholesome to do, something that is selfless to do right when you wake up, and when you clean your monastery, when you do the monastic chores, it gives you that idea that yes, you're doing something for yourself as well as the others also. So these are the parts that we enjoy as monks. Okay. And also one part, this is not only separated for monk's life, but also anyone can do that. We enjoy by listening and learning the Buddha's teachings. Okay. You get a lot of time to learn the Buddha's teachings and observe and analyze the Buddha's teachings and practice the Buddha's teachings. So these are the beautiful parts of the monk's life. So don't think that monk's life is easy and hassle-free and problemless. No, as any other life, we also have problems. But we are working through them, right? We are practicing our mind to make our mind strong enough to face these problems, face these challenges through the Buddha's teachings. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to subscribe. So I hope you got some idea about monk's life. So I wish you, may you be happy and may you be healthy.